Ladies and gentlemen, good day and welcome to the MSTC Limited Q2 FY22 earnings conference call hosted by Equirus Securities Private Limited. As a reminder, all participant lines will be in the listen-only mode, and there will be an opportunity for you to ask questions after the presentation concludes. Should you need assistance during the call, please signal an operator by pressing star then 0 on your touchtone phone. Please note that this conference is being recorded. I now hand the conference over to Mr. Dipesh Kashyap from Equirus Securities. Thank you, and over to you, sir.
Yeah, thank you, Ray. Good afternoon, everyone. On behalf of Equirus Securities, I welcome you all to 2Q FY22 earnings conference call of MSTC Limited. From the management, we have with us Mr. Surendra Kumar Gupta, Chairman and Managing Director, Ms. Bhanu Kumar, Director Commercial, Mr. Subrata Sarkar, Director of Finance, and Mr. Ajay Kumar Rai, Company Secretary. We'll begin the call with the opening remarks from the management, and then we can open the lines for Q&A. I now hand over the call to Mr. Surendra Kumar. Over to you, sir.
Yeah. Good morning, everybody. You see, MSTC has released its first half-yearly second quarter result and first half-yearly results. As we have been stressing again and again, companies progressively shifting to the e-commerce model that is shown in our results. We have shown a growth of around revenue of around more than 60% as far as the earnings from e-commerce sector is concerned. And marketing also, although there is a temporary increase because of pandemic, there were a few orders which was not completed in the last financial year, but the supplies are basically getting affected in the current financial year. That is the reason for temporary increase in the marketing revenues. So otherwise, our complete focus is now on e-commerce, where we have shown around 60% growth. And if we talk about the profits also, we are having the profit before tax again more than 60%. Now, if we talk about the further segmentation in the our e-commerce, we have got good growth in the sale figures and the revenue figures from our iron ore sector, scrap sector, and e-sale sector. Basically, all these three verticals have got very robust growth. Even the coal sector, the growth is quite good, and it could have been much better. But in the last few months, because of the power crisis, the coal was diverted to the power sector. That is why the auctions were slightly less. So we are hoping that as the situation eases on the power front, coal auctions will also get better traction. Only sector in e-commerce where we are not performing that good is the e-procurement sector, where the setback is mainly because of the government focus on the government e-marketplace, where all the government departments are progressively shifting to the central government departments are progressively mandated to shift to GeM. Although we are trying to rope in the private parties also, and state government departments, PSUs also are availing our e-procurement services, and they are quite happy from them. So overall, e-commerce is showing a good trend year to year also, and quarter to quarter, and half yearly to half yearly also. So that is all I want to say in my opening remarks. And we are doing quite good projects with various public sectors and the governments. Like one recently we did for ONGC, where we made a portal for all ONGC group companies for import and export of their petroleum products. So presently, this is the phase 1 of the project that we have completed. After seeing for a couple of months, we'll be doing the phase 2 for ONGC and other group companies. Thank you. Yeah, Mr. Kashyap.
Thank you very much.
Yeah.
We will now begin with the question and answer session. Anyone who wishes to ask a question may press star and 1 on their touchtone telephone. If you wish to remove yourself from the question queue, you may press star and 2. Participants are requested to use handsets while asking questions. Ladies and gentlemen, we will wait for a moment while the question queue assembles. The first question is from the line of Harshit Jain from RAH Investments. Please go ahead.
Yeah, hi team. Congratulations for a good set of numbers. My one query would be regarding our e-commerce segment. So this quarter we have grown 10% quarter on quarter from 59 crore to 65 crore. So I just want to know that whether this growth will be sustainable going forward in second half of financial year 21-22, or can we expect a jump of 10 to 15% in e-commerce revenues over next 6 months?
Definitely, this growth is not basically something which is an exception. We are working so that this growth momentum is kept in e-commerce sector. Definitely, you will see growth coming quarter to quarter also.
So can you provide some guidance for second half? Like for the first half, we did almost 125 CR. So can you provide the guidance for second half of this current year?
You see, we cannot give a definite figure, but definitely we are hoping and working for a better than first half.
Okay, thank you. And one more question would be regarding our scrappage thing, because we've been talking through since past 12 months that we've been trying to open some more centers and we are expecting a big revenue. But as of now, we are nowhere in it and we are only operational on three plants. So can you provide some guidance that how many plants will be open by next 12 months and what is the revenue potential you guys are targeting for next 2 years?
You see, the government scrappage policy for end-of-life vehicles has come only recently, right?
Mm-hmm.
So there, after the policy announcements, we are basically in advanced stage for setting up of couple of more plants. And there are 2 parts of the policies that was being envisaged in the beginning. One is the disincentives to own an old vehicle. The second was the incentive portion. So as far as the first portion of disincentive, that guidelines have been issued along with the guidelines for setting up the end-of-life vehicle centers. So those regulations have already been issued. Further work is, we understand central government is doing work with various state governments for getting the customers some incentive for selling their old vehicles. So as soon as that, although we are working for setting up more centers, looking for the lands and doing the market studies for where the vehicle availability is and the consumption sector industries are there. But still, we want to be very cautious so that whatever investment we make, we want it to be prudent investment, right? So the investment give us some returns. Although we are moving cautiously, but we are moving ahead with a definite plan, and you will be seeing more and more centers coming in every quarter.
Okay, so as of now, how many centers do we have as of now?
We have 3 centers, and we are in advanced stage for in discussions for a couple of more centers.
Okay.
Yeah.
And one more question would be regarding, in this particular quarter, we have seen a substantial jump in our employee costs. So can you throw some light that why do we have such increase in our employee costs for this quarter?
you see, there is some kind of last year there was some freezing of dearness allowance of the PSU's employees that we are aware of that. So that unfreezing has been done, and some kind of COVID expenses related to our employee welfare were also there. That couple of things and normal growth increment. Three things have added to the growth of this expenditure. Basically, this unfreezing of dearness allowance and etc. that has added like that only.
So this was just a one-time hit, and from next quarter onwards, we will be back to our normal levels.
Next quarter we see there will be a growth because the normal BA increases, normal increment, but this type of quantum jump is not that much envisaged as of now.
So next quarter can we expect a 20-25% decrease from the current quarter?
That we actually our salary is little bit of different depends upon the government policies and all. So that we cannot say, but of course we expect standing right in the month of November that this will be a normal quarter so far employee expenses are concerned. It will be normal growth in the expenditure, whatever it is due to the DA increase or increment, normal increment.
Right. Thank you so much. And just one last question. This would be regarding power trading business, which we just started around 3-4 months back. So can your team provide little more guidance at how we are proceeding in it, and what are the kind of revenues you are targeting, and how can we create a market share, because it is already a monopolistic business, monopoly by IEX. So how are we doing in that front?
Right now we are doing power trading on long-term and medium-term and short-term basis for central government, right? They have mandated us to provide a platform. So that is what our present business as far as the power trading is concerned. And we are basically weighing all the options and discussing with various stakeholders what are the basically possibilities in that direction. So right now nothing definite can be said about that. So we'll let you know as we make some progress.
So this will not happen in financial year 22. We can expect some revenue from financial year 23.
No, not in the current financial year, but we are basically weighing the options. Right. We'll let you know as soon as something material happens on that front.
Sure. Okay. Thank you so much.
Thank you. Before we take the next question, a reminder to participants that you may press star and 1 to join the question queue. The next question is from the line of Raj Sharma, who's an individual investor. Please go ahead.
Good afternoon, everybody. I have just one question regarding the provisions we are making. So if I look at the segment-wise reporting, right, there is one section which is unallocated, and they are around 29 crores of loss. Can you explain what exactly is that?
Yeah, in the segmental reporting, you see, our salaries and certain overheads that we cannot clearly distinguish and allocate between our two primary segments, like trading and this e-commerce. That's why it is kept in the unallocated portion. So where the revenues can be segregated properly, the expenses are more or less commingled with these proper two segments. So it is the practice that we are following for quite some time. So that's why it is unallocated is the loss part. Okay, that's the reason.
Okay. So might be can you give an example where it is coming exactly from? What kind of because it's a continuing, right? I mean.
Yeah. Basically, let me explain you in the broader terms. So we are tapering down our this trading and marketing business. So hopefully from the next financial year and onwards, there will be hardly anything, and year onwards the segment will disappear from our financials almost. That because it will have a minuscule income. So in that case, we can now then there is an unallocable part might go to this e-commerce segment, because hopefully that only segment that time remains there if the present trend continues. So then it can be allocated. But basically, it's the salary and our administrative overheads that is unallocated.
Okay, great. Thank you. One more question. This provisioning part, how much provisioning, more provisioning is left from the marketing side?
Yeah, as you are aware, if you are attending our con calls regularly, right from the day one, we were telling that this marketing, trading segment was a vulnerable segment for which mainly the provisions were required. So almost we are almost on the verge, and hopefully 25 to 30 crore odds are debtors, trade receivables are left. So, but we do not say that the whole provisioning will be required, because on this segment also we are getting some payment, although a very minuscule amount, but on a gradual way. Small cities we are getting. So if at all, if you take if at all that some payments does not come, so it will be max to max around 24 to 25 crore, max to max. That we are expecting standing on today in this cash and carry segment, 25 to 20, around 27 crore. That we are expecting standing today in the trading segment.
Okay. So the provisioning will be probably, but in next quarter, most of the things will be provisioned, and probably next year onwards, we will not have much of provisioning left, right?
Yeah, we expect if the trend, this type of trend, and that the policy that the business model that right now we have adopted and continuing, so we hope that it will be a very, very minuscule amount in our financial statement.
Okay, great. Thank you, sir. Thank you so much.
Thank you.
Thank you. Participants who wish to ask questions, please press star and 1 on your touchtone telephone. The next question is from the line of Harshit Jain from RAH Investments. Please go ahead.
Yeah, hi again. I just want to know about our balance sheet component. In our balance sheet, we can see cash ratio is somewhere, our cash figure is somewhere close to 715 crore. So just want to know that how we are utilizing the cash. Are we investing it somewhere? Because as of now, our business model doesn't require that much cash. So are we generating some kind of returns on cash, and how are we utilizing the cash?
Yeah, if you can see that this our balance sheet, you have seen that asset portion. We have got certain liabilities also on the liability side also. You have to look into that. If you match all these things, and if you go to our ratio, current ratio, it is around 1+. So this investable portion is not that much. So, and you have rightly pointed out as of now that in a model that we have now adopted in our business, that much of huge investment is not required. So some portion is already this year we have paid this final dividend. Last year 44%. Just now we have declared the interim dividend also. That is being utilized. The cash is being utilized for that purpose also. And after that, there will not be much more investable surplus in the long term in our balance sheet. We have got certain liabilities also. You have to weigh both ways. You have to look at the balance sheet in the both ways. You have got current financial liabilities also. Little bit.
No, because the way our business is generating cash every quarter or every 6 months, after a couple of quarters, maybe after four quarters more, we will be generating somewhere around 250 crores of more cash. So I just want to know that how we are going to utilize this cash. Are we investing it somewhere? Do we generating some returns on it, like 6%, 7% return annually, or?
You are of course you are absolutely right with these projections and this profitability. Certainly we'll be having cash and all. So of course then once the cash is in our balance sheet, of course it is our internal, and internally we'll decide and sit and decide if investable surplus exists. We will look at the opportunities for the investment. Of course, some portion will also go back to the dividend, because 30% of the PAT for our policy, 5% of the net worth, that will have minimum dividend that has to go. So that portion will go up, and other things we will be keeping there. So we will of course formulate such strategy, as you have rightly pointed out that there will be cash balances coming in the coming quarters with this profit trend.
Right. And one more thing regarding Standard Chartered Bank case, which we just lost, and I was checking the notification given by your company on exchange. So do we expect some kind of cash flow from our company, or just the properties attached will suffice the same?
Two things are there. It has already been clarified, and that we have gone for appeal, and we have filed a writ petition with the Honorable High Court of Bombay also. If at all some kind of order from the court, we will not pay as per the order. If at all some kind of order as per the Act, DRT Act and the relevant Act comes out, obviously we have to pay and deposit certain amount with the court that has already been declared in our financial statement. So we will deposit that money if the court orders. So right now we are awaiting the order of the Honorable High Court of Mumbai. What comes next? So once it opines, we will of course follow the court order of the Honorable Court.
So I was checking that if in case the worst case scenario, if we lose the appeal and if we lose the case, so the properties attached are residential and commercial flats in Calcutta and Mumbai. Will that suffice the amount 143 crore raised by Standard Bank, or do we need to pay some cash to them?
Yeah, it is a very, very contingent thing. First, whether we will lose or not lose, it is yet to be decided by the court, number one. Number two, what amount it will fetch, that is also very contingent. So let us wait. We'll keep on updating you people. As and when the things happen, we will immediately let you know to the exchange, and through the con calls, we will keep on updating you. It is both are contingent. The outcome of the case as well as the outcome of the auction, if at all happens.
Right. Thank you. And just the last question coming on the segmental revenue and segmental profit. If we check our consolidated number, under others unallocated, we've been showing continuous losses of 20 crore plus every quarter. So can you throw some light and explain that why we are showing such big losses under others unallocated category?
Yeah, rightly pointed out. Basically, if you follow our financial statement from the day one, you can see that some expenses that cannot be allocated properly to our marketing and to our e-commerce.
Right.
Like our salaries and overheads, because our business is so mingled. The same office does the activity. So that way it is being put at unallocated. That's why it does not have, while the revenues can be allocated in a proper manner through the billing. So there is a profit in these segments, but this unallocated portion comes right away from your unallocated, this salary and overheads that cannot be unallocated properly to this particular segment. That's the thing.
Okay. Thank you so much, and wish you all the very best.
Thank you, sir.
Thank you. Participants who wish to ask questions may press star and 1 to join the question queue. The next question is from the line of Satish Jain, who's an individual investor. Please go ahead.
Good afternoon. I have two questions. One is further to the earlier participant who had asked about the debt provisioning which we have been doing for the legacy transaction. You have mentioned it's around 35 crore is left to be provision to be made for that. So that leaves around 600 crores which is appearing under receivables. I just wanted to know, out of this 600 crores, how much of this payment is still pertaining to legacy marketing business?
Yeah, we were keeping on telling like that. The provisioning basically pertains to this trade receivable pertaining to this erstwhile legacy of marketing department. And in the earlier answer, what we are projecting that provisioning from the next quarter coming around 25 to around 30 crore, 27, 28 crores. That is pertains to this trading segment only. For that other particular trade receivables, we basically in the e-commerce and in the associate model and in the 110% piggyback model, we are almost secure, and we do not perceive right now any major provisioning in that particular segment. The only thing left out is around 25 to 28 crores in this trading segment only. this erstwhile cash and carry segment.
Sir, my question is not about how much provision have to be made. My question is, as on 30th September, 635 crores is there outstanding receivables.
Yeah.
In that amount, how much of the amount is pertain to legacy business?
Yeah, that's why I explained, around this in the legacy business, around 27, 28 crore is pending out of that. It's almost done away with net of provisioning. Almost done away from the books. Almost.
You mean to say if I take out this 28 crores, so that is 607 crores are all pertain to both the e-marketing as well as the BG and whatever all the new businesses, new transactions only.
Yeah, in the consolidated our balance sheet, basically this pertains to our safe business in the trading segment, like associate and backed by BG, our e-commerce, and scrap and allied recovery jobs of our 100% subsidiary company, Fino Scrap Nigam Limited. This comprises of this population. The population comprises mainly of these things.
Okay. Understood, sir. Thanks a lot. And my second question is, it's regarding the disinvestment where you are calling for the EGM and all. Is there any target date has been given to complete the entire transaction?
As of now, this project is basically this disinvestment is being taken up by DIPAM, right? So they are basically the entrusted the job by Government of India, and they are doing it in a very expeditious manner, right? So as of now, no definite date can be given, but we believe that they are moving at a very good speed, so that the transaction is closed as early as possible.
Okay. And my another question is, sir, it's regarding your investor presentation. Under key highlights heading, you have mentioned what are the new e-auction project that you have undertaken or won from different government entities. Can you just give us approximately how much each of these projects gets us the revenue?
You see, there are 2-3 projects that we have indicated. One is the portal for ONGC and group company that was given. So there, you see, whatever projects we are doing is upfront payment is not that large. These are not that way very high figures, but small projects contribute to our revenues, right? Similarly, this auction portal for SEPI also, enemy properties, there also the revenues we have developed the portal, but the revenues will depend upon the properties that they are able to put up. You see, these are very old properties with lot of litigations and lot of things about the land titles and the complete paperwork. So as of now, some amount of properties are relatively, which the department is sure that this is not any kind of litigation or the paperwork is clear. So we are hoping the properties will be put up for auction in the current financial year, right? So, but no figures as such can be given that how much will come in this financial year or next financial year. Also regarding the 9 major mineral blocks, so there we are getting fixed sum for
on event basis. Basically, for all these mineral blocks, coal auctions and all, it is on event basis. So the number of events, if it goes up, then we get our revenue, irrespective of how much material has been sold. Now, regarding this e-bidding platform for ONGC, this is again a platform that has been given to ONGC to host their events. So this will be, annual charges we will be getting on a quarterly basis, irrespective of how many events they carry out, what kind of imports or exports they transact. Basically, these are platform services. So the revenue is not much, but it brings in more business. That is the idea.
Okay, madam. Thank you very much and all the best.
Thank you. Participants who wish to ask questions, please press star and 1. The next question is from the line of Didi Mehta, who's an individual investor. Please go ahead.
Hello.
Yeah.
सर वो जो इलेक्ट्रिसिटी का जो आपका एड आया था, हेलो,
बोलिए हम सुन रहे हैं।
हाँ, तो उस बारे में आगे क्या डेवलपमेंट है?
देखिए, जैसा हमने आपको बताया था अभी पहले क्वेश्चन में कि अभी हम लोग जो पावर ट्रेडिंग हमारे यहाँ हो रहा है वो लॉन्ग टर्म और मीडियम टर्म और शॉर्ट टर्म के लिए हो रहा है, राइट। और उसमें फर्दर हम क्या कर सकते हैं उसके लिए हम जो है गवर्नमेंट ऑफ इंडिया, पावर मिनिस्ट्री से और बाकी लोगों से बातचीत कर रहे हैं और उसमें स्टडी कर रहे हैं कि क्या इसके अंदर मार्केट सिनेरियोज हैं, क्या पोटेंशियल्स हैं। तो जैसे ही कोई डेवलपमेंट होगा हम आपको बताएंगे। अभी टू अर्ली टू से मच अबाउट दैट।
ओके, थैंक यू सर।
थैंक यू।
Thank you. A reminder to participants that you may press star and 1 to ask questions. The next question is from the line of Dixit Doshi from Whitestone Financial Advisors. Please go ahead.
Yeah, thanks for the opportunity. One question from my side. Last time we have conducted one e-auction for Hindustan Oil Exploration because I guess the government has also mandated that the gas should be auctioned. So are there more in the pipeline e-auction? Because I think HOEC is also coming up with new oil fields in couple of months. So any development there, and is there any plan of doing auctions for natural gas for other companies?
Yes, actually we are empaneled with the Directorate General of Hydrocarbons for carrying out these auctions, and all the gas blocks that have been allocated in the recent past, all those people obviously when the gas is actually produced has to be auctioned. So we already have done one event for HOEC. More such events will be there as and when HOEC comes up with more gas production. And other companies also, those who are successful allottees of all those gas blocks, we are in touch with them. We hope that they will also be utilizing our services.
Okay, and this will be also like a event-based fees, or it will be like depends on the volume of the gas?
It depends on what is our scope of services. Every company has a different way of selling the gas. So if it is just going to be a platform services, then it can be event-based. But if there are some more activities to be done, then definitely there will be more revenue coming in. Like we can even be transaction advisors, that can be even some kind of consultancy, that can even be percentage basis on the gas production. It depends on how they want to sell the gas.
Okay, and in terms of scrappage, in terms of scrap selling, metal scrap, so we were predominantly doing it for PSUs or also for the state government. And last year we did added Bharti Airtel, Reliance, L&T. So how is the traction on the private side? Because not much is heard on the private sector side.
Private sector, in fact, not just
much larger than the PSU.
Yes, that's true. For private sector, we are not limiting ourselves only to the scrap. We are also, extending our services for their minerals and iron ore, coal, etc. So some of the other clients with whom we are talking, I think Jindal has already been roped in last year. We have already informed you about that. So we are in talks with almost all the big groups. Tata is another such group who have been roped in the recent past, Tata Power. So the private sector is also big for us, but then there are other challenges in the private sector. So we are trying to address it through our different business models with them. Those are still in the negotiation stage, and definitely some concrete plan will be there for getting more revenue from the private sector.
Okay. That's it from my side. Thanks.
Thank you. Before we take the next question, a reminder to participants that you may press star and 1 to ask questions. The next question is from the line of Pritesh Chheda from Lucky Investment Managers. Please go ahead.
Yeah, ma'am. When I look at the e-commerce side of the business, where bulk of the revenue obviously is linked to the scrap part, and I think for the last 2 years we have announced all these private corporates coming on our platform. But when I look at the volume of the business adjusting for the scrap price, I don't see a significant traction because I think the scrap prices themselves have gone up by about 30-40%. And your corresponding revenue seems to be at equal or less than that traction in the scrap price. So if you could help us understand what's happening in the platform in terms of the traction on volume. And then my second question is, already QOQ, the scrap prices have corrected about 30-35%. So that's the global scrap prices. So we do start seeing incrementally an adjustment to your revenue as we move towards the forthcoming quarter because the scrap prices themselves are corrected, and I'm especially referring to steel scrap right now.
See, first question is regarding, you're saying that the scrap prices have increased and that is why the numbers are better, otherwise the volume is almost the same. I agree with you to some extent, but then you must appreciate that the last 2 years have not been normal years. So, and the least focus for any organization in their day-to-day operations is selling scrap. So definitely we are expecting that the second half of this year we will be seeing more volumes coming in. And as far as the other, the private sector, the business you are talking about, as I said, there are a lot of challenges and definitely the volumes will go up as we move forward in the current financial year.
I'll add to what our Director Commercial has said. You see, traditionally after when we enter into the e-commerce sector, we were focusing main on scrap only, right? So now even we don't want to be basically focusing on, lay more focus on one sector. So we are basically trying for multi-commodities. That is why e-sale we are getting good growth in business volumes. Although the revenue terms it's not proportionately that large, but volumes we are getting very good in e-sale. So in e-sale we are doing variety of projects where we hope to get more revenues in the coming years. Of course, the old coal, iron ore and scrap will persist, but the more tractions will come from e-sale business.
E-sale?
Yeah.
Okay. E-sale is basically the sale of the scrap, right? And then there is e-auction, which is linked to all this coal, gas, etc., right?
Anything other than the coal, iron ore and scrap, normally, generally will constitute e-sale. It may be the gas, it may be the spectrum auction, it may be the property sale. So those are varied kind of commodities that we are covering under e-sale, where we are focusing on better things so that we basically de-risk our business from one particular sector.
That would be a fee-based or a percentage-based. So your e-auction is percentage-based, right? So your this coal, whatever asset classes you talked about, that will be more fee-based?
You see, as Madam has said, that it depends upon the arrangement we have with the principal. Some of the transactions are on the basis of the revenues they get from the sale, some of are from the portal development, some of it are from AMC basis, some are event basis. So it's a quite varied mix. So
So then adjusting for the, let's say, so incrementally adjusting for the reduction in the prices that we are seeing on the scrap side, even after that, you think that your second half will be a stronger business?
Yeah, that is what we are hoping.
And my last question is, sir, we had the MOUs with Larsen and Reliance and, a lot of these large corporates. And we have talked about, 4-digit crore figures in terms of those MOUs. So where are we on that business traction, sir? With, let's say, these, I'm assuming that scrap generation with these companies will actually be on a regular basis. Now, no one is going to stop those scrap in their yards, right? So we had a MOU. We had a traction to be built up. They must be generating scrap because they are continuously doing business. So where are we on that part in terms of traction?
You see, when I say that we are focusing on e-sale, that doesn't mean that we are not basically ignoring other sectors. So we are working on that also. Our intention is because some of the commodities prices are always very cyclic. So we want to sort of de-risk our business from, like initially we came out of marketing. Here also we want to have a good mix of e-commerce also, good mix of various commodities, so that if one commodity goes down, so company has a plan so that we don't go down with that commodity. So one commodity, something will always look up. So that is how we are de-risking the business, and we are trying various models and continuously exploring what way we can add more businesses in all the sectors.
Okay, sir. Okay. Thank you very much and all the best to you, sir. Thank you.
Thank you very much. That was the last question in queue. I would now like to hand the conference back to the management team for closing comments.
Yeah, our Director Commercial will something.
Yeah, that was really nice of you. You people have been following us very closely, as we can see from your questions. And we have already given the highlights of this half year. Going forward from here, we hope that there will be more projects, and the market is okay now. It has stabilized, though there was a little jump in between, but now it has stabilized. So we are hoping for a better half. The second half of this year is likely to be better than this. And thanks for all the support. Thank you.
Thank you very much. On behalf of Equirus Securities, that concludes this conference. Thank you for joining us, ladies and gentlemen. You may now disconnect your lines.
Thank you.